Good afternoon. I'm Cindy Hodnett with Furniture Today. Welcome to this month's edition of our Furniture Retailer Playbook. We have a lot of topics we're going to talk about today. In first steps to developing an omni-channel strategy, we've got some great experts here with us. So to kick us off, we'll just go around the screen and let everyone introduce themselves and talk a little bit about your company and your area of expertise. Jason, you're top left for mine.
All right. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. My name is Jason Phillips. I'm with Phillips Collection, a family business. We are furniture manufacturers based in High Point, North Carolina, not by accident, originally from New York. And we bring to market all things organic, exotic, I'd like to think on the cutting edge of trend, and very excited to talk today about Omnichannel. I run sales and marketing at the company. So yeah, happy to share some insights, some of the do's and don'ts that we found along the way, and thanks for having me.
Okay.
Did you get all that? Looks like Cindy's frozen on my screen.
Was Jason, you were frozen on mine, so we'll muddle through. Okay. All right. Vincent, how about you?
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm very happy to be with you, Cindy, and Dan and all others. So I'm actually, as you hear, I'm based in Paris. I'm French. So you will have to deal with my French accent today. And actually, I'm vice president of a company named Dassault System. We are not very well known for the public, actually, but we are delivering. We are in the tech industry, and we are the 3D leader when it comes to product design. And we are actually developing a new solution named Home by Me to bring the power of 3D up to the consumer and interior designers.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. Dan, how about you?
I'm Dan Miner with Charleston Forge Furniture. We are also a manufacturer of furniture located in Boone, North Carolina. As our name indicates, Charleston Forge, everything has an element of steel to it. We are an American-made company, fully customizable. I'm the president of the company, and we've been open since 1984 and still going strong. So,
very good. And last but not least, Mr. Brody.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kane Brody. I manage Las Vegas Design Center. Las Vegas Design Center is owned by International Market Centers and is part of the World Market Center campus, really the open daily portion of the World Market Center campus that services the regional design trade in between markets. And, IMC, our primary business really is bringing together buyers and sellers across all of our physical marketplaces. We own and operate America's Mart in Atlanta, as well as ADAC, a lot of the major buildings in High Point, North Carolina as well, and also own and operate the Las Vegas market here in Vegas. And so we look at bringing together buyers and sellers across all of those properties, all of those campuses throughout the year, in addition to just those major markets. So.
Great. Well, thank you, gentlemen. I think to sort of set our tone here, omni-channel strategy can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So why don't we sort of just go around and have each of you speak specifically to how that plays in your particular world, in your particular part of the industry. Jason, I'll lead with you because I'm just going around the screen. So.
Hey, am I coming through now? Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right. Sorry if I cut out the first time connection here. Yeah, omni-channel for us, that used to be such a strange word, but it's pretty clear to us now what that means. It's everywhere, in our opinion, where we show up in front of our customers, in front of the consumer. We have to have a practiced approach and a different targeting per audience. If it's Facebook, what's our message? I think that's a little more of a mature audience, so we speak a little differently. Instagram, it's quicker content. Twitter, which we're not very active on, is sound bites, right? It's 140 characters. We also are aware of how the consumer engages with us through our YouTube page, through general social media, and then even in person, in print, advertising, it's all these things. So making sure that we are in the right marketplaces, telling the right message, that's how we look at omnichannel.
Okay, great. Vincent, how about you?
Actually, we have a different probably perspective on the topic, because we are first technology provider for retailers mostly, and we really believe that the power of being actually available to the consumer through the social networks, but also through content network, I would say, with Pinterest or any platform with providing images. This is really the starting point for most of the customers. We know that the consumer experience starts mostly on mobile, and when it comes to home, people start by a dream. They want to dream first. They want to look at what could be possible without any consideration regarding the price or budget first. They start by dreaming. And what we provide is really the way to translate that dream into a real project, and then go in store and continue the experience seamlessly. So being able to start using your mobile phone, shape very quickly or acquire very quickly the room dimension, and then start dropping furniture, working with an interior designer remotely, and then visit a store to physically continue touch the products locally and talk to the manufacturer, to the brand. This is absolutely our definition of what we call the omnichannel solution. And for this, we of course use cloud-based solution. Everything is mobile-based or browser-based. So it's very easy, very accessible for the consumer, but also very powerful for the store experience itself.
Wonderful, thank you. We'll switch the order a little bit. Kane, let's go to you next.
I think, IMC and LVDC's, strategy really revolves around, I think creating a seamless experience from our consumer for our customers, no matter how or where they prefer to shop and source for their products. And so, obviously you have, we have our online tools, Juniper Marketplace, our new online e-commerce platform that we launched, which really, I think, brings kind of the market experience, online, and extends market, to retailers and interior designers, from the comfort of their own homes that may not be able to make, those events. But, I think we also look at it from the standpoint of, our physical marketplaces and how can we best maximize and create a seamless experience for those customers throughout the year beyond just our major markets. And so, I think beyond just those major markets, we've really bolstered the number of shoulder markets that we've hosted on our campuses really, throughout the year, create more touch points and more opportunities and experiences for those customers. Similarly, and where I focus a lot of my time and effort on is, the open year-round component of our business. We have the Las Vegas Design Center here in Vegas that is open 10 to 5 Monday through Friday. We have certain floors and showrooms within America's Mart in Atlanta that are open, in between shows and throughout the year. Obviously ADAC in Atlanta, that's a traditional design center. And then, there's a lot of showrooms and an initiative, going on in High Point as well, to try and generate, more business and more of an experience and opportunity for designers in between shows. And so I think we look at, omni-channel, not only just from kind of a technology and from a marketing standpoint, but also, as a way for us to create more touch points with our consumers and duplicate that market experience, not just online, but throughout the year at our physical properties as well.
Great, great. Dan, I had the pleasure of visiting you a few weeks ago, so I know a little bit about what you guys are doing, but tie that back to our topic today with Omnichannel, even perhaps with Ethos, if you'd like.
So we utilize, several different ways of communicating with our customers, and each one has their own definitive reason for existence. So we do e-blasts each week. E-blast can be showing something new. It could be advertising for furniture market or a design edge or any type of promotional thing that we do to try to draw people to see our products. It shows off new introductions and things like that. We also utilize our website, and our website is kind of our ground zero, our control center. So our customers can go on our website and utilize the e-catalog portion of that website, just as I would if I was writing an order with an account. They can write their order just as I would. Not only can they, do orders, they can make payments, they can print tear sheets, they can do all the things that we would want to do and give them the opportunity for doing business with us. And then our social media platforms are basically designed to showcase and show off some of the things that we do. If there are unique pieces that come through the plant, if they're just a real cool new design, if it's to highlight one of our design partners and show how they utilized our product in their own personal space. So we try to use our social media and more of showing off all the things that we can do. So
I think that it brings up a good point, because we're constantly, for the brands, doing research to try to figure out where we need to be meeting our audience and how that ties into, the end consumer journey, even in addition to B2B channels. So, you, Dan, alluded to that a little bit, but I'd love to hear from the rest of the group as well. Really, how do you change your messaging, according to platform or according to the specific demographic perhaps you're trying to reach? And I'll just open it up for whomever would like to tackle that first.
I'm happy. I've got a couple of comments. We, Las Vegas Design Center is open to the general public in between markets as well as the design trade. And so, we've learned over the years, obviously, very different audiences that respond to different messaging. With the end user, I think we take a much broader approach. The end user, they're not as educated as the interior design trade or the retail trade. And so you have to, you just have to use a little bit more, I think consumer focused, messaging and terms, you can be a little bit more aspirational. We can position, our offerings, again, to that end user, that they're less concerned about, some of the product details or specifications, that a designer or a retailer might be. And so it's a fine balance too, especially when you're using channels like social media where you can't always be, targeted. You're going to have people across different audiences, reading and seeing that content. And so, I think the challenge for us and a lot of people there is when you're using the same channel to reach, different audiences. It's trying to find, messaging and differentiating that messaging, across those different kinds of buyers. Similarly, I think we, beyond just consumers in the interior design trade, we also target, the hospitality and contract trade as well. And we all know, they do business a completely different way, that they source a different way. And so it really just comes down to, I think, learning, how these different channels operate, how they, what they respond to, and then, really tailoring your messages as much as possible to those needs.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Jason?
Yeah, I'll piggyback on one thing Dan said earlier, which was behind the scenes, something I think we need to be doing more at our company. And there are certain platforms that really lend themselves to that. Not even just platforms. In terms of platforms, I'm thinking TikTok, that kind of Reels format, but Instagram, where we're much more comfortable, now has their version of stories or Reels. And what a powerful way to go viral, showcasing, an extraordinary custom piece that we're preparing for a customer. To Kane's point, and I'm realizing how much parallels you have to deal with the LVDC, we do speak to the consumer sort of by accident and now intentionally, because we want them to engage with our brand, because we're on Instagram. You can find us, we're a public facing page. But we have to get the messaging in very quickly that we're to the trade, because we do not sell the end consumer, and we don't want to create a bad experience when they're on our website just browsing around. You can browse all of our products without being logged in. You can see an inflated retail price. At what point in that browse do they hit a dead end, and is that a bad experience for them? So we need to engage the consumer. There are some industry friends I've talked to, I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying, but Matthew Briggs of Four Hands does a very good job immediately assessing when you land on his website, are you a consumer, a designer, a retail store? And the website shopping experience is curated from that point on. Wonderful, I want to do that tomorrow, but there's a lot of programming and development that goes into that. So we also have to, and we talked about this a little earlier, but there are so many opportunities nowadays with Omnichannel, and there's limited budget and even more so limited resources. Where do we direct our IT team to focus on next? So we tackle what we can in terms of pivoting the brand message, but we look much, I think, more slowly at something like onboarding on TikTok with behind the scenes videos, because it's foreign to us. And, quite frankly, just being transparent, it scares us a little bit. So we often think as an elevated brand, like everybody on this video is, I'd rather show up when we feel like we have our ducks in a row. So I'm not ready to launch my first TikTok video and hope it goes viral. It could be damaging to the brand.
I mean, I'm curious that, now that you say that, do you tie in any way the demographics of the users of the individual platforms with how you make your strategy and your timing, and like when you would like to roll this out? How much attention do you pay to that on your end as well?
Yeah, for us, a lot. So Google Analytics is a big part of what we look at, seeing where traffic comes in from. Like Vincent said, mobile is where most people start their browsing experience. But we've found that desktop is where they shift to when they start placing orders. So looking at where traffic's coming from and why could help us find weaknesses and strengths.
Yeah. How about you, Dan? Is it the same for you guys?
Pretty much. We've we know where our strengths are, and we know where our comfort zone is. We're not afraid to leave the comfort zone. One of the things I'll throw out, we did something right after COVID really started to take hold in 2020. We were closed for a little bit, and I talked with our marketing team about let's create a video to show what goes on in our plant, but let's create it in a fun way, because it was kind of like everyone was kind of doomy and gloomy, and so we did this video to where we had basically from start to finish, if someone had a piece of steel and they were at a forging area, and when they got done, they would throw it, and the guy in welding would catch it, and we kind of did that all the way through the plant, and it gave us a pretty fun way of showing what we did without it being TikTok. It's on our YouTube. You should go to it and look at it because it's pretty cool. But we tried to do things with that and show what we do through YouTube. We have not really engaged too much in TikTok and some of the other things like that. We're in Reels and Facebook and LinkedIn, Instagram. That's kind of where we're comfortable at.
Okay. Kane, did you want to add anything to that at this point?
No, I mean, I think everyone raises, some great points, and I think you have to take in, you certainly have to take in, these social platforms and their functionality and their limitations and capabilities, right? I mean, Facebook's a lot different than Instagram. We've done a lot of research. It's unbelievable how much of an impact social media has now on an interiors designer's, decision to source or for inspiration or, for ideas. And so obviously with Instagram, you can be much more visual. To Jason's point, they've tried to, I think, jump on some of the TikTok momentum and really, with their reels, functionality now. And it's I think, when you're talking about engaging, Generation Z, it's hard not to look at TikTok, right? I mean, as one of the main channels, to get at that audience. And so, I think we're doing the same thing. We're taking a look at it. We have not launched yet on TikTok because, again, we want to make sure we're ready and do it the right way when we do. I think, because it doesn't take much, to lose an audience, either, right? And so if you're not prepared with the right kind of content, the right kind of tone and messaging, it could do more damage than good. And so TikTok's something else that we're looking at as well to kind of add to our social our social channels that we work within and again use it as a way to reach this growing and audience that's becoming more important and will here into the future
as we go. So I want to bring Vincent back in here in a minute, because what I'd like to do, we've talked about I think a few of the challenges and then how to sort of come up with innovative ways of addressing some of the challenges. So what I'd like to do is kind of go around and Dan, I want to work in what you guys are doing with Ethos, because I think that's a fascinating approach to putting additional product out there and developing new channels. So I want you to overview that. And then Vincent, I want to bring you in sort of after we go through some of the challenges to talk about one of the tools that you guys offer.
Yeah, sure,
well.
Cindy.
So Dan, if you will, let's hear about Ethos. Let's tell everybody about Ethos at this point.
So, when we're trying to interact with our customers, we have the traditional macro ways of doing things. We show in High Point, we show in Las Vegas at the furniture markets. But then from a micro standpoint and trying to get more targeted, there are several groups that we participate with, one being Ethos. Ethos Design Collective is a curated group of designers all across the country that are working together to take their brand and the designs from their individual projects and put it out there for potential design clients to look at and select the designer for their project. So we've worked with them to curate some very special finishes that we put on, things that are out of our norm, a little bit out of our comfort zone, but in a good way. That'll be highlighted in the Las Vegas furniture market. It's out there right now. We set the showroom up last week, but it really shows our product in a very different light. And it is shown from the mind of those interior designers from the Ethos Design Collective. We've also participated in Design Edge, which is where the idea is to bring the furniture market to the designer in their own region. We've done 3 of those. That's been extremely good for us. And then we're also a member of CDG, which is Contemporary Design Group, and it's a group of about 30 retailers that we are able to be around and congregate with. And the whole idea is with each one of these channels is to try to create a community with each one. So you talk about how the deal, we deal with the folks at CDG differently than we would deal with the Ethos Design Collective and then also Design Edge. But what it does is it gives us different avenues to create that community and hopefully form a strong bond between us and them, which is mutually beneficial to all of us. So that's what we've been. It's been very good for us. So
great. Jason, do you before we head over to Vincent to talk about the 3D solutions, do you want to mention a particular challenge that you all have had and then the solution you've come up with for that particular challenge? Sorry, you're muted.
Yep, I did mute myself because I heard a tone go off before. Okay, one challenge we continue to have and see infinite opportunity is with technology. So once we've captured interest, what's the workflow for that customer? And I think that's part of how your marketing is. If you're this really cool, sexy brand on Instagram, but then your website is kind of performing like a dinosaur, that's not great. So we have our own in-house team of 15 developers that have built a program we call Step Up that we are now starting to market to others in the industry. It basically runs our entire ERP system, and it's extremely robust. It's something that we developed out of our own need, and now we realize we have a great solution for other companies. So it's being betaed by a few big names in the industry, and it's it remains the challenge technology. The speed with which you can access inventory, that's a touch point for a customer. If it takes a day to get back to somebody, is that in stock? That's a problem. So, what does your order confirmation look like? If you left something in your shopping cart, what does the reminder email look like, and how many times should we hit you with that? I think it was you that said, you can quickly lose brand followers if you're, bothersome. You didn't say that, but it's very easy to start losing your customers when you're trying to do things correctly if you're not doing it right. So yeah, technology has been super important. Vincent, I'm very much looking forward to the technology you're sharing today, because we're excited about technology and we don't want to run from it. We'll run from TikTok, but maybe not others.
I'll run from TikTok. Vincent, I think that's the perfect transition.
Yeah, thank you, Jason, for the transition, and thank you, Sydney. Clearly, we are strong believer that technology and business go together to run and to operate better businesses. We also believe that virtual reality and virtual world can really help to shape a better world, actually, a better real world. And this is really what we have developed with our solution, Home by Me. It's at the same time a public website. We have around 20 million users. And those users are creating projects themselves. They can be interior designers, they can be consumers. They are from all over the world. US is roughly 40% of the traffic, while Europe is about 50% and the rest of the world. What we see is absolutely amazing, because when you give technology to consumers and to interior designers, they can really use virtual reality and 3D to design what they have in mind, but also to collaborate to make a better decision, because they are able to see in context, in a virtual context, the overall style very easily from a mobile phone, from a tablet or a desktop. And this is very, very powerful. They created altogether, they created around 25 million projects. So that's quite huge. And it gives us an incredible volume of interesting content, because you looking at what the user are creating, you instantly know where they are coming from, or you can bet where they're coming from, and you really see the diversity of the world, the diversity of the styles available. And this is, let me show you, just if you agree, Cindy, I will very quickly share my screen to show you some pictures. Yes, can you see my screen now?
Yes, there we are.
So this is Home by Me. This is available in multiple languages, and basically we start with inspiration. And what I'm going to show you now is not technology or 3D experiences for the 3D design, but more what the user are creating with what we deliver. So we are a technology provider, but we are working with brands to make sure that users are able to find the right content, the right brands to shape their project. So if you go to the inspiration section, what you see here is not actually what we have designed. This is what people of the world are designing live now on the website. So they created, and you can scroll like you do on Pinterest. All those images are virtual images. They are not made by a CG artist or by experts. They are really produced by people like you and me, people who like design, interior design, and they can be professional or end consumer. And scrolling at this, you see people from really like this one. I'm discovering this with you. It's probably a wedding project or something, and you can very quickly look at the project. And of course, because we know, and because this is virtual, we also know what the project are about. So this one is, I don't know, from someone named Petra, and Petra designed this interior design. Personally, I really like it. And you can, of course, instantly see the real product from used by Petra in this context. So we have, depending of the project, we have different product, and you can, of course, click on Petra name and discover other renders from Petra. That's probably a European project in terms of style, I would guess, probably Eastern Europe or something. And this is really amazing to see that looking at the inspiration gallery, this is really live again. You almost are looking what people are thinking about. You are looking at the future. Those projects are going to be real in the future. So it's almost anticipation. You see the future of what people are going to do in their real life. Of course, we provide that technology also to retailers. We have very large customers, famous Swedish customer, you probably can guess, but also many different sectors, of course, decor and furniture, but also kitchen, bathroom, storage, wardrobes. Actually, using virtual technology, you can really design and, of course, collaborate with the brand to shape the perfect project and also accelerate the decision cycle.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's a good transition as well, because we were talking a little bit before we kicked off about what is on the future with regard to technology, omnichannel, how we're going to develop. And I know, Jason, you had some things in particular you wanted to mention about AI.
Yes, so we are using AI it's very new to us, let's say. We're using AI to manage content creation in terms of copy. There's AI artwork, which is more two-dimensional, but there are certain websites you can go to and type in like groovy robot, let's say, in a field. And all of a sudden it's populating artwork that in some cases has won international awards and caused some controversy. So the point is AI is here. Then you get into the metaverse, which I think is still in its infancy, but there is a whole population of younger people that want to experience that. And it's something that anybody that's looking at it as that's silly is not seeing the forest through the trees. It's here to stay. So AI and tools like Vincent's getting our product, which is very physical and needs to be three-dimensionalized. You know, I'm sure, Dan, you deal with the same issues. You have lots of products. You know, is your next investment to get these things in 3D form? And maybe you already have it. We have a small portion of our 3,000 items in 3D. And getting that into the hands of architects and commercial designers makes a lot of sense. So it's not just, apology for me saying, but Herman Miller and Steelcase that's going into these interiors, but our product as well. But I think it also plays into the next generation. And if my product ends up in a party in a virtual space, like our seatbelt chair, and a kid likes it, they can show their mom who's an interior designer. You know, so there are a lot of layers to we as a B2B company kind of catering more towards affluent adults, let's say, more than children, but there is even a place in our world for children, for marketing to kids, let's say. Like West Elm, I think, is in Minecraft, right? I believe I saw, and I even signed up just to see what's happening. And yeah, you can go into West Elm in Minecraft. And as silly as it is, I think something like 10 million people downloaded their free beanie. So, you know, here we are, scratching our heads, and meanwhile they've got 10 million people knowing who they are. So yeah, it's interesting, right?
Absolutely. How about you, Kane? Do you have anything you would like to? Because I know, I know we've had conversations before about some of the different ways that you're approaching things as well in terms of getting messaging out.
I mean, I think we're always looking at ways, how can we enhance and extend, the market experience, right? From our shows, again, to whether it's in between markets, whether it's, to someone's computer, at home. And so, I'm glad Jason, mentioned, the metaverse, because, I'm a firm believer that, over the next 5 years is going to become, if you don't have that included in your plan, in some way, shape, or form, you may find yourself behind the 8 ball, a little bit. And so we're starting to take a look at that, here kind of in the infancy stage. But I would say in terms of some things closer on the horizon, we're looking, at some of our existing tools now, are the market app, particularly for Las Vegas market and America's Mart, is under redevelopment right now. So we're exploring a lot of different enhancements and improvements there, again, just to extend that market experience beyond the showrooms, into the palm of their hands. Similarly, the website will reflect, a lot of those same, updates, functionality, changes, again, just to extend and continue that experience beyond our campuses here. And then obviously, Juniper Marketplace, was kind of IMC's, response during COVID. I think, IMC had kind of an e-commerce, platform, with SAS tools beyond just e-commerce, a lot of different tools, made available, and COVID, kind of kickstarted that, right? A little bit. I think we had to jump on it, a little bit quicker than we had originally planned, just because of what COVID did, to everyone's buying and shopping habits. And so, with the addition of Juniper Marketplace, we now have an e-commerce, we now have an online extension of our physical markets that retailers and designers can access 24/7, 365 days a year. And that, continues, to be developed, improved, enhancements there are ongoing, to again, create that streamlined experience, whether you're shopping in physically in one of our showrooms, or you're at the airport searching on your phone, or you're sitting at home on your computer. So
very good, very good. I think you bring up a good point. Things did get very much accelerated, I think, and as a result of the pandemic. And I think, no matter where a retailer or a designer is on their journey, they recognize now that they have to have an omnichannel strategy. They have to start it, improve it, enhance it, build upon it. Since sort of our key goal with this is to, provide some takeaways for that, maybe we can just go around and, if you had to say maybe a top 3 suggestions for maybe a retailer who's looking for the next step, or a designer looking for the next step in an omni-channel strategy, what would those get started helpful hints, if you will? What would that encompass? What would you recommend?
With social media being such a dominant force and also a changing force. I mean, we talk about, certain things that, that we're comfortable with our social media, but, the realism of the whole thing is in probably 2 years, there's going to be others that, eclipse what we're currently doing now. So, just trying to be aware of what's moving on and coming through, but being able to utilize the power of the manufacturers and also what they do. Each one of the manufacturers that you see in High Point, they're spending a lot of their time making sure that they're giving a wonderful product, great access to their product, going through all the social media channels, doing all this stuff, and for the designer and the retailer to be able to try to, grab a hold of some of the work that's being done for them and utilize that for their own good. then that way the retailer, the designer, the manufacturer are working together for the same common goal at that point in time. And I really think that the common goal community type thing is what is going to have folks succeed together moving forward.
Nice, nice. Jason, did you have
Yeah,
anything
that's
you'd
it.
like to?
Great point, Dan. I'm glad you brought it back to, the at market experience. And I'm sure Kane appreciates that as well. Designers and stores that blog their travels to market, I find very interesting. And I find some of our best partners invest in opportunities like that, just really creating excitement around their experience. It's a behind the scenes to their audience. If you're a store and you don't nurture your online presence, because I think designers do this very well, kind of intrinsically. They all have an Instagram. That's how they get their message out. They don't have a physical footprint. Stores need to take that seriously. I can think of stores that are very savvy. I can think of stores that are kind of trapped in the 20th century in terms of the way they look at their brand and marketing, and that's the audience they'll attract. So I think designers and stores have to keep showing up to market. That's hugely important. We can't take a market off. We're there showing our newest goods, investing a lot of money. And then, to throw it towards Vincent, I think designers that embrace 3D and AR and can, Cindy, you and I were just at a student summit, seeing student work, and some of them had AR glasses showing that you put on and you're in their project. And it's like, I'm very excited about the next generation. Let me just say, these were some very impressive young people that were showcasing beautiful projects. So yeah, it becomes very obvious to us consumer these days. We're all quite savvy. We're consumers too. What brands are paying attention to all aspects of their business. So I want to shop with companies that I feel like are speaking to me and giving me
Vincent?
glimpses to their heart. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, yeah, no, please.
That was
I'm
it.
sorry.
Yep.
Vincent, to bring it back to you, how easy would it be for someone to get started with some of your technology? Would it begin with just a consultation? Talk a little bit about that, if you will, as we wrap up.
Yeah, actually, we really help brands and retailers to help their consumer to make quicker decision, and also to showcase all the value of their product. Many products now are available in multiple sizes, multiple dimensions, multiple colors and product variation. And it's very hard in store in a physical space to show all the variation. So at some point, you really need to embrace the technology to be able to show what's really possible, even if you don't have the physical product in front of you. So how do you make sure that your customer is not going to run away because he is not able to imagine what the product will look like in a different color? So we really use 3D technology to help the customer to first to be inspired at the beginning of the journey, then evaluate the different option, the different possible option, and of course, do it in the context of the place he or she is living in. So this is very important. Of course, there is a new dimension in terms of collaboration. Before, the collaboration between the brand and the retailer happened mostly in store, but now it's with the post-COVID effect. We clearly see new habits where people want to get a kind of collaboration or conversation about the product remotely. Using Zoom or using just a screen sharing and discover the product remotely. So how do you collaborate with the customer in a different way? And for us, I would say our generation in the call here, it sounds something new, but for the new generation which is coming, I mean, this is the basics of Fortnite or any 3D platforms they use in their daily life. So this is nothing new. And I believe that the furniture market in general is probably a little bit late compared to the new generation coming with different habits and way of seeing the change. And of course, at the end, you have to deal with the transaction itself. And we also offer a complete SaaS-based solution to run your business in store, manage orders, manage defects and payments. So we have the complete ERP to do that. So this is how we see the complete platform for the new generation of retailers.
Okay, thank you very much. We've got just a few minutes left, so I really just want to open it up and maybe get almost your anecdotal comments, if you will, about how you see things really evolving over the next few years. I mean, we've all been, as I said, I think fast forwarded through a lot of our strategies, our business strategies. So, for your business in particular, what's top of mind? What's your number one? Got to have it on the radar right now.
I'll go ahead and start off as far as it goes. I mean, number one, I guess the most immediate need is, we've had, all of us have had several years of pretty significant disruption. And, during that disruption, the end consumers and our design partners, they've been, very understanding, when our lead times go from 4 weeks to 20 weeks and, all the things. So, I mean, I think that our first, at least for us, is the first thing we have to do is, get back to where, normal, whatever that means as far as that goes, because right now, I mean, a lot of people have been understanding over the last few years of the things, but that's starting to leave, and they're like ready for it to be back to the way it was before. So, I guess in the near term is, to get it as close to where we were before, as far as how we produce things and operate. But then as we move forward, and I think some of the notes that you'd said talking about, Gen Z being a prominent buyer and stuff, and you think about what is Gen Z, what are they looking at? Okay, and the way I see it is they grew up with Amazon, DoorDash. Amazon wants to deliver in the same day. DoorDash gives them the food when they want them. The whole thing, rideshare, they have a car when they want it. So we have to be able to give them information when they want to have the information. We can't wait for that. We have to speed that up. And not just information, but products and just anything that they want. They're going to want it right now because that's the environment that they've grew up in. And then the other piece of it is, when you think about that particular group and the next group, we have to have every part of our business, whether it's product introduction, whether it's marketing, whether it's social media, we have to be selfie worthy. That's to me is the biggest thing. I mean, there's the folks who are growing up now. Everybody, I know my son, he probably has 30,000 selfies in his phone. I don't know when he gets to look at them, but I mean, if you don't have a product or a product offering that is selfie worthy, whether it's the products or marketing materials, I think that's where you're going to fall a little bit behind. So that's kind of our short-term goals and our long-term goals.
Great. Kane, how about you? Did you have anything you'd like to add?
I think for us, continuing to have a well-defined, customer journey, right? And a map, I identified so that we know exactly, where our customers are being exposed to our brand or brands, and from there, what is their experience, moving forward. I think for companies to have that well-defined and to understand how their customers, where are they getting information about their company, how are they receiving it, that's I think become more important than ever. And then I think once you identify that, understanding and being adaptable to changing buying habits, essentially, right? I mean, Generation Z is so much different now than even millennials, right? I mean, and how they were raised, that their purchasing habits. And so I think we talk kind of tongue in cheek a little bit about TikTok, but for this newer generation, I mean, that's going to be and is a significant tool for them. And so I think the companies that are adaptable, the companies that are proactively seeking to educate themselves, to understand these platforms, and to understand kind of this evolving customer, and then the ones that are willing to invest in the technology that it's going to take to reach those audiences. I mean, I think those are the companies that will set themselves up for success. So it's interesting too. We've COVID, like we talked about before, really forced a lot of us to pivot and change some things, and maybe expedite some things. And that being said, now that we're kind of past that period, we're seeing response to some of our old school grassroots initiative come back as well. Designers and retailers are happy to come back for live events. I think when your content is relevant and valuable, folks will respond to that. If that's an event inside of a showroom or in a design center, or a webinar like this, folks are still willing to engage and kind of do some of those engage in some of those vehicles that were successful prior. So
great. Well, we'll go to Vincent and then wrap up with Jason. Vincent, what's top of mind for you all over the next few years?
Yeah, I think Jason was really right when it comes to AI. AI is certainly the next big things, in my opinion, in the home business in general, because you can probably guess that in a few years from now, most of the AI will be able to deal with the notion of style and product recommendation at a very different level compared to what we know today. And I guess that AI will be able to really understand deeply what has been designed by real interior designers, and probably suggest product set in a very efficient way based on your Pinterest profile, for example, and really suggest not only new product, but also product in a real scene. And I guess that AI will combine with 3D, and compared to what you know today with most of the visual social media, it will probably be a new generation of content where you will get directly personalized content to decide, and very personalized. So this is really, for me, probably the next big thing.
Very good. And Jason, we'll let you take us home.
All right. Yeah. Well said, everybody. It's really making me think. The pandemic has really was a pivotal moment in our industry. There was a lot of demand, and while supply was constrained, it was a renaissance moment for many companies, and it weeded out those who couldn't. Maybe it was even just a cash flow thing of the cost of importing goods during that time. It was ridiculous. But those of us who have weathered through have looked at new ways of exposing our brand to people through Zoom, through new content. I think I'm excited about what's next for our industry. The consumer is much more aware of what's in their home. The chair they sit on is not just a chair anymore. If they're at their desk, they're going to spend $1,500 on a nice Herman Miller task chair because they care about their back or whatever it is. And I think a lot of consumers, maybe younger consumers, look for direct channels where they could buy a chair from a company that goes direct to consumer. And so where does B2B play in that? We have to continue to promote what makes us a value add. We are luxury goods. We product that lasts longer. It's hard to tell a kid. A lot of people dislike IKEA. I think IKEA has a wonderful place in the market, allowing first-time homeowners or people on limited budgets to have style. You'll never be able to convince them that the chair is going to fall apart until it falls apart, and then they understand. It's like, you don't know the stove's hot. Doesn't matter how many times you tell me until I burn my hand. So without getting off topic here, I think we as manufacturers have to continue to make sure we tell our story, get our message across, approach the right arenas like TikTok, like the metaverse, like virtual, like 3D. And we're excited for what's next.
Fantastic. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time today. This is certainly, a conversation that we're going to be continuing as we move forward. I feel like we could take different segments of this whole webinar and just make it into its own hour worth of content. So to let our viewers know, we have been recording this. This will be part of our on-demand educational library. So if you are registered, you can go back and watch this again. And we'll be covering it in all of our publications as well. Gentlemen, again, thank you for your time. Vincent, thank you. I know you're with us from Paris very late this evening, so we definitely appreciate that as well. And we look forward to seeing you next time.